guys, it's Daryn and John here from Martinis and Murder at Oxygen. John, you look handsome as ever.
Thank you, Daryn.
I'm really excited for our interview today. We have Kathy Kleiner here. She is a survivor of Ted Bundy. She's got some stories to tell,
and
I want to kick it off right away.
Yeah.
You've mentioned before that you don't like the word victim. You prefer survivor, and part of your journey has been getting to know as much about Ted Bundy as possible.
Yes, it is.
Why is that so important to you?
I want to put a face to the person that attacked me. I don't want it to be a blob and a black thing coming at me. By learning about him, it has helped heal me.
Wow.
Because it just puts a face to it. Although I know the face that we see is not true. It's what Bundy wanted us to see.
Yeah.
So that, as long as you understand that he was portraying something than what he really was.
There have been so many documentaries and TV shows about Ted Bundy. There's almost this sort of glorifying of him in a sense. How do you
Absolutely.
feel about that?
Well, with the movies, they do glorify him, and
Yeah.
he liked that. He would be very happy. But they also have to understand they can't just look at that. They have to go and understand the rest of him.
The rest of the story,
Yes.
yeah.
And it's not uncommon for that to be done, but you can't talk to a serial killer without the victims. And to know that he is a serial killer right there tells of how he killed people and
Right.
therefore made victims, and that puts it together.
Before you were attacked, had you heard of Ted Bundy before?
I did not. I went to FSU. I was a freshman, enjoying the panty raids at the dormitory, and just having fun, and
Yeah.
that he never came on my radar.
So were you or your friends ever afraid of him? Like it wasn't really a thing for you before that?
No, until he got arrested
Wow.
in Pensacola.
Yeah.
I had no reason to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he wasn't just something we talked about or even knew.
Well, as a survivor, I was wondering if you could sort of walk us through, your healing process and right after the attack, sort of what happened to you and how you kind of came to be this hero to all of us.
When I got attacked, I was asleep in my bed at the Chi Omega sorority house. It was dark in the room. I heard something as I was sleeping that kind of woke me up a bit. It was the front door of our bedroom opening. The next thing I hear is a louder noise. We had 2 twin beds and a small trunk between the beds. It was so dark, this person knocked over the trunk. Now I'm wide awake. And as I look up, I see this dark figure with a hand up, club in his hand, and before I knew it, he brought it down on me and attacked my face. I did not feel a pain. It wasn't pain, it was more of a thud or a pressure at that point. And I didn't understand anything. I was awake, but
Right.
confused. At the time he was attacking me, my roommate Karen on the other side of the room started waking up. So he went to her side of the bed and attacked her also with the club, which ended up being a piece of firewood that he had picked up when he walked into the sorority house. I was told at that point there was a bright light, and I remember seeing that. I was cowering, ready for the next blow, and this bright light shone up in our room because our windows were open. From the back, we faced the back parking lot.
Right.
A car came in at that point, our curtains were open, the light shone up in our room, and he thought he was seen. So he got spooked and ran out, and I'm still waiting for the next blow to come. And as the light shone up and I saw he wasn't there anymore, again, I wasn't comprehending, and the room got dark again, and the beating has stopped. So I was in my bed now screaming for help, yelling for help, and all I was doing was making a gurgling sound, because when he attacked me and hit me, my jaw was just hanging on to one joint. It had been completely shattered, and my cheek was left open. And I almost bit my tongue off. So these injuries, I could not talk, but in my mind, I was just screaming for help. To heal from all this, I had a very good family support. I was taken back to Miami, where my parents lived. before that, I was a week out of the hospital. I was taken back to the sorority house, back to the bedroom, and it took so long for me to take steps
I'm
to go up
sure,
the
yeah.
steps. I had a police officer on each side of me helping me up. And I turned the corner to the second floor, and I saw my room. I was in the second room on the left, and there's tape everywhere, yellow crime scene
Did
tape.
they bring you back to identify parts of the room
Yeah.
and everything?
They wanted me to see if anything was stolen on the dresser, and all it was black fingerprint tape and dust and everything. And I couldn't tell if anything was stolen, because if they caught this person, they wanted to know if there was anything of mine they could find.
Right, of course.
Right. And then as I'm looking at the dresser, I turned and I saw my bed. And at this point, the blood was dry, and it was all over the place. And that kind of shocked me into knowing this really happened.
Right.
You know, that happened.
Yeah.
And I found that by healing, I heard and read as much as I could about it. And
About the case or just how to overcome that kind of tragedy?
just about him.
Yeah.
Just about him. The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule was the first book I read, and I felt that was empowering because I was understanding
Right.
that this was a person that attacked me.
You felt by knowing him better and maybe some of his motives, it helped you come to terms with your own sort of emotional healing.
I do believe that.
Wow.
One of my ways of healing was I had this horrific thing in front of me, but if I took baby steps and walked away, I looked behind me, and it was walking away.
That's amazing.
So as I had a goal, I had something I wanted to go to, and it was the beach. That was in my mind.
That's a good place to go.
And it took me forever to get there.
Yeah.
But every time I did, and when I got there, I looked behind me, and there was nothing to be afraid of.
Good for you. That's amazing.
Yeah, what a harrowing tale.
amazing.
What was it like testifying against Bundy and being confronted with him again? Did it
That
feel
was-
good?
It did, actually. I was on the witness stand. The witnesses were all held in separate rooms so that we didn't contaminate our stories and talk and influence each other.
Sure.
When it was my turn to go up and sit in the witness stand, I looked out, and there was Bundy sitting on the defense table.
Wow.
And he was sitting there like this, looking at me, and I stared him down.
In the eyes.
You did not back down.
In the eyes. I don't remember what the questions were that they were asking me.
Why? Yeah, of course.
I was
not.
just straight on, and I felt like I had power now.
Good, yes.
He was on that other side of the table, and that I was okay. And I didn't want him to think at all that he had any power anymore.
Do you think that he was trying to manipulate you by just staring right back at you and intimidate you?
Possibly. I don't know if anything he did, he was so deceitful that will probably, I can get to her,
Oh, yeah.
And I wasn't scared. I wasn't feeling threatened or anything. It was just a matter of wills. I was not going to give up. I was
Good
not
for
going to
you.
give in.
That's amazing. You spoke with Rolling Stone at one point and talked about working at a bank
Yeah.
and getting robbed at gunpoint, and then
Yes.
you literally took the afternoon off and then came back the next day. Is that
Yes,
true?
I did.
Wow,
I
that's
was-
amazing.
I mean, are you like the best badass that
Like,
ever existed?
Get her like
I
a
survived.
superhero suit or
Yeah,
something.
you need like a leather jacket with like your name on the back. Yeah, like we all need that.
We can get somebody
badass.
here to do that, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
I was married 6 months after the attack.
Got it.
Okay.
And that ended in divorce. And I think anything would have ended in divorce at that point. It didn't matter who I married. It was
You were
just-
having so much
It was
going
just so
on.
much going on.
You needed you time.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
yeah.
But my parents and his parents thought I needed to be protected and that he was going to be there and protect me. And after a while, I figured I don't need him.
Oh my, I love
And
this story.
I don't need, I don't even
for you, yes.
I don't even choose to be with him anymore.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, so I
So
had
what was that
gotten-
like whenever you...
I got a job at the bank,
Okay.
and I was a bank teller. And there was a young guy that came in. We worked in a small office, and there were 5 women in the bank. And there was a very old community we worked in. It was in Boynton Beach, Florida, and everyone that came in had blue hair. So the day before, this young guy came in a suit and we're like, woo-hoo, is somebody not dead yet?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And he was at the table writing and looking, and one of the savings counselors went up to talk to him and said, can we help you? He goes, I'm thinking of opening an account here, but I don't know. He turned around and left.
Okay.
So I had gone to lunch that day. I was coming down the stairs. He was next in line, and I was the next teller available.
My goodness.
So I wasn't going to move. So I see him coming at me, and my knees are knocking because I know something's up. We all
you
did.
just
Of
thought
course.
you could tell he was up to something.
We all talked about it after he left that first day.
Got it.
And we thought, he's either real cute or devious.
Yeah. That's how they all are.
Yeah,
Let's
right,
be honest.
exactly. That's a bad
cute ones.
combination.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So he came to my window, and he had a little bag, and he opened it up, a leather bag. He unzipped it, and there was a gun. And then he asked me on a note for your money. I'm not sure exactly. And I opened my drawers thinking, well, do I give him ones or 20s first? They
Yeah.
didn't educate us in this part
Sure.
of being a teller.
Yeah.
So when I was talking to him and facing the lobby, the head teller had called the police. He was looking behind me where the drive-through teller was.
Oh my God.
So I'm looking at him, he's looking at me and seeing the police show up in the back drive-through. So he picks up his stuff and runs out, and I'm like, yeah.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. That's amazing. And this
So-
was only 6 months removed from
Yes,
your thing.
yes.
Wow.
So after the police took me, after they caught him and said, is this the guy that robbed you? I'm like, yeah, a little
yeah.
too close.
Right.
And it turned out that he was never prosecuted. He got off in a technicality.
Wow.
So the next day, I went back to the bank. I figured, where's the safest place and what are the chances
Right.
of getting robbed again?
Right.
So that was my
Actually kinda
job. and
smart.
I went back. That was,
Makes sense, I guess, right? Yeah.
Have you maintained a relationship with any of the other victims from Bundy, or do you guys have a support group? Reach out.
no. I
Really?
have not been contacted by any of the Chi Omega sisters at all.
Would you like to? Or are you looking for that kind of camaraderie?
Not anymore.
No. Why's that?
Yeah, why?
I needed them then. It's not necessary for me to hear why they didn't contact me or what was going through their heads. They were told not to, so they didn't.
Right.
I was always going to be a Ted Bundy, Chi
Yeah.
Omega person and a connection.
Right.
And new pledges, weren't going to join the Chi O.
Right.
And new money was not going to come into the corporation.
Got it.
So by them being told that, they didn't.
Wow.
Is there just one last question for you, because I could talk to you for hours. Is there any sort of moral or lesson you'd like to tell either young women or just people out there?
Because there's a whole group of women
I
here
know.
standing
You got a good
out
audience
behind the
right there,
camera.
yeah.
I know. When you enter a relationship, it's not so easy to know what's out there or who you're dating because you're all excited. There's a new guy in town.
Right.
If at all you feel any twinge of anything that's not right, just end it. Just walk away. Don't worry about hurting his feelings. If you're not comfortable for any reason in your soul, in your heart, just walk away.
Trust your gut.
Because a lot of women stay in a relationship because they think it's going to get better. But if you stop it before it gets to that point, you
You're
have
better
you
off.
have power then. You're not giving him any power.
It's amazing.
Wow. Thank you so much for taking the time and
Thank
coming
you.
to CrimeCon and telling your tale.
Thank you.
You
What a
are,
story.
yeah, I mean, you're an inspiration to all of us.
Thank you.
For all of you guys out there, check out everything Oxygen, Facebook, YouTube, oxygen.com, and #OxygenCrimeCon for more coverage from Johnny Boy and I.